Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. I think I'm allowed to say that for at least the next few days in email and voice messages and phone calls. And then it goes away and we're back to where we are. Today's episode is about that, is about some reflection on 2024, looking forward to 2025. I tell on myself on some things. There's a number 500 in there that might be interesting to you. I also go through some of what I'm trying to do about it and things that I'm putting in place. And I got to tell you, most of it is about removal. It's not necessarily adding resolutions, and we'll talk about that. But generally, I hope it's value to you. Hope you can see maybe if you're struggling with some of these things, you're not the only one. In fact, we're probably in the majority, not the minority, but we don't talk about that stuff a lot, and it's not comfortable. I get why. It's not fun to point out where we're failing and how we aren't measuring up to our own expectations. But that's what's about today, and I hope for you in 2025 it's going to be awesome. But we'll still have these struggles, and we'll still find through them, and we'll work our way through them. We'll find them. We'll do what we need to do to get over them together. But anyway, I'd love to hear from you if you've got ideas, thoughts you want to hear in 2025. I'm super excited about this year. At the beginning of every journey, there is this optimism, right, and excitement, and that's where I am right now. And I hope, hey, man, you're taking advantage of some of that with that the notion of a new year. So, without further ado, I hope you find value in today's episode. I wouldn't even want to tell you how many times I've tried to start this podcast. Being it's the first release of the new year of this 20-year year of our Lord 2025, feels like it should be special. Feels like it should have something awesome. And I'm not sure I've got that. And I actually, in the back of my mind, Frank, my imposter syndrome is very clearly telling me I do not have that. So let's just start there. Let's lean into old Frank and what he's got for me. When we talked last time, I kind of gave you a little bit of review of my 2024 and where I thought that I was maybe falling short and what I wanted to really focus on. And I talked about three things. One, I wanted to be more deliberate in terms of what I do and less reactive as things come in. I talked about the micro me, finding things in those micro moments of, oh, that's who I am. That's how I behave. That's like me. And I also talked about looking for abundance. And I think that's critical. And I'm going to continue to try to do that in 2025. Those feel good to me. If I fix those, if I do more of that in 2025, I think it makes for a great year. And so how does that translate in stuff I'm doing? Well, of course, the micro me stuff, that's, those are all kinds of little moments here or there. And I got to tell you, it does, it works. I don't really think y'all tried that. I'd love to hear if you did and how it worked out for you, but just those micro moments are cool. And so the micro me, I love that. But when I got into the deliberate side of work, boy, when you look at life, as a father and a husband, man, there's always a new thing on the list and things needed. And it became more about being deliberate in those moments of time I have with them. And so I think that's gonna be a little harder for me. When I look at work, boy, it really got into it. But one of the things I've done, which is interesting, I don't know how this is going to work out. I'll share with you all now. But what I did is I broke my month up. Again, there's no magic in months, but it's how we're tracking time. So it can be helpful for anchors. I've actually looked at each of my weeks with a different focus. And I've been doing this since, I began trying to do this in November. And I think I told you all then, that's when my new year starts. And really the last couple months have been lots of stumbling and dragging myself along, trying to fix it in and out of holidays and everything else. But I've got it going, and it's working well-ish. Now here we are, we're 1 week in, so let's wear our helmets and plan for whatever's coming next. But I do have it kind of set up in where I've got a week where I'm focusing on people, where I'm reaching out and connecting with people. And so those people are certainly the folks I work with here at Mountain Leverage. They're folks potentially in the community. They're folks, customers, partners. And really having a lot of people work. And you might say, well, my entire job's people. I get that. And so there's always going to be conversations with people. And I'm ready for that. I understand that. But 1 week where I'm really kind of focused on that, and it's been nice. It's kind of has an intentionality to it, and things maybe I would have put off, like, I need to call so-and-so. Well, I do it this week. This is people week, right? And then there's a week that's a strategy week where I'm still going to be doing tactical work at times and things that are going on, but I've got time set aside to be thinking strategically and working on things that have a strategic context in our company. So most of this is what I'm talking about is really from a professional setting. And then the other week is going to be a foundation week where I'm focused on our culture and making sure we're doing the right things, the right ways, for the right reasons and all that kind of stuff. Right. So it's more of a foundational setting. So I've got people, I've got strategy, and I've got foundation. Now that works for me. I don't know what works for you. That's my role. My role is about foundation and direction. So strategy and culture are two really key components to my role, and people. I mean, as a CEO, that's my primary directive. We've talked about that, is the flourishment of the folks here at Mountain Leverage. So I've done that. And then there's a week in between there. That's just where we call them our deliberate weeks. I don't know whether we've talked about that on this. Maybe we have, maybe we haven't, where we really turn down a lot of the regular noise. So like regular cadences and those things, that we turn those down. And it's ebb and flow. I mean, entropy is always crawling in to anything you set up, but generally those weeks have a little less noise in them, so you can be a little more deliberate. So that is a lot how I've tried to improve my calendaring and really be more deliberate. And on the abundance side, man, I've just tried to take more time observing things that are awesome. And we're in the midst, many of us that are along this snow band that's happening here in this first part of January. It's like 3 days straight. I haven't seen it stop snowing until just today for a little bit. And I'm taking joy in that. I'm trying to see the abundance in that and the joy it brings. And I know, look, yeah, snow can be real horrific and make roads difficult to pass, and it's cold for folks. And I'm not, numb to all of that. But for me, I'm just trying to embrace the abundance. So that's all part of it. But I'll tell you, it does connect to what happened in 2024 that I haven't really wanted to talk about, but Frank's been yelling at me. How do I come and talk to you guys about a good experience and what I think is a good idea and all that stuff while I'm completely hosing it and pooping the bed on whatever else? And so here we are. I'll share with you the number 500 and its significance to me in 2024. Towards the end of the year, and I think it was in November maybe, I looked on, so let's back even further. Middle of the year sometime, I had not played on a PlayStation in a long while. I'd play with the kids some here or there, and mostly on Nintendo doing different things. But NCAA 2024 came out, and I think we actually did a couple podcasts where we were playing. And it was awesome. And I got kind of sucked into it, to be honest with you. It's a football game. I was just sucked into the recruiting and all that. And it was a lot of fun. But I started playing it more than I should have. And it started taking some of my sleep and some of my evening time. And it was just sometimes in the mornings early, I'd get up and it was like taking place of a lot of my really important stuff. And you might be rolling your eyes at this, and that's okay. I don't know. Maybe you have this handled, but maybe it's not, NCAA 2024 for you. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. Maybe it's doom scrolling or whatever else you might do. Maybe it's a silly game you're playing on a tablet or a phone, or maybe it's, I don't know, it's news, right? Maybe it's watching news, or it's who knows, whatever it is for you. And maybe you don't have that stuff. And if you don't, fantastic. I tend to not have a lot of that stuff, but boy, this one just sucked me in. And one day we were sitting there and looking, and on the front of the screen, before you get in, I guess on the main screen, or whatever, it will show you how many hours you played on that game. And folks, now there was a number. I told you about the significance of 500. There was a 500 on there. Now I'm not the only one playing that game, but I'll just be honest. The bulk of it is me, my son, my nephew. People play on it. My daughter even played a little bit. Sometimes they might leave it sit up there, and so that time cranks, and I'm rationalizing to myself how I'm not really all 500 of that, but it was there. And so I had to face that and say, what is 500? When you start looking at it and you think about, there's about 2,000 hours of a work hours in a year. 500 is a quarter of that. That's a quarter of a work year on a video game. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, now I get it, man. Entertainment, there's fun things. I'm not saying don't entertain yourself and all that, but for me, that was not cool. That was excessive. So what did I do? Well, at that point, first I played some more and then I played some more, and then I went, okay. So this is stupid. I got to stop. So I quit cold turkey, but with a whole process of this, which is, all right, 500 hours, fine. If I want to pick that game up again, and I won't in that way, obviously, but I'm not playing again until I reach 500 hours of the things I was taking advantage of. Now I could count sleep. That'd be great, because I did lose some sleep over it, but I didn't. Sleep isn't part of it. But what is in that mix when I have 500 hours, it's going to be of audiobooks or reading books, some kind of book consumption, not just podcasts. Because for me, podcasts are less, here, you hear me mumbling on, right? There's a lot of wasted time and everything. When a book, somebody has put some thought together, there's been an editor in that. It's more concise. I mean, some are bloviating, I get it, but generally that's going to be more information for the time spent. So books, and I'm better on books. I run better on books. They talk about what's those commercials, you run better on something. I can't remember what it is. Run better on McDonald's, probably something silly like that. But I run better on books. So I'm now going to, trying to get my 500 hours in books. Included in that is 500 hours of what I call my map. And so every morning I try to have a meditation, affirmation, or prayer, some kind of session. Sometimes a mix of the 2 or 3, sometimes it's just one. And so tracking those hours loosely to get to 500 is just is a goal I'm sitting at. I've toyed putting workouts in there, but candidly, I don't track those as well time-wise. There's a long story for that. We can always talk about it. Getting myself in physical shape is really a focus in 25. But those 3 things, primarily books and my map, are what I'm going to do for 500. So I got 500 hours of that set. Make fun of me all you want. I get it. I got caught into the game thing. When you start really kind of tracking your time on this stuff and you do the math, it's horrific sometimes when you see how much time these attention getting machines that we have everywhere around us can just pull us away. I mean, some of the brightest people in the world are sitting there finding ways to pull us in. It's amazing. And I get caught in it. So it is what it is. I'll pay the pittance and make fun of me all you want, Frank and crew. Here I am. It's laid bare. I'm going to go after it this year, 500 or something else. And I haven't touched it since. So, I think when I look also at the rest of this year, or at least the first part of this year, one of the things I have to do as we've scaled at Mountain Leverage is there's a phrase, and, as my children are growing, and they are awesome people, man. I mean, they do some of the stupidest things. It can frustrate you. Any parent gets this, but at the same time, they are awesome people and I love them and they're great. And I want to let them be more great without me in their grill. And I'm not a hover parent, but I'm engaged. And so I want to stay engaged, but let them lead. So they're telling me something I already know about. I don't have to tell them I know about that. I can kind of hear that out. I can maybe, ask some questions, whatever else, but let them lead more often. And likewise at the company, let people here lead more often. That's easy. That sounds easy. That seems easy. That is not easy when you're in a quote unquote leadership position. And I don't say that with any hubris, but the reality is as a father, there's a natural leadership position with your kids. As the founder and CEO at a company, natural leadership position there. And to let others lead, I think is my challenge for right now. So I look through all this. I'm just kind of sharing it out in the open. Here's what it is. I've got my 500 hours. I've got the let them lead, and the last piece is, and maybe I'll share more on this. I'm going to be embarking on a serious physical transformation that has to take place for the challenges I want to take on in life. Be it that as a father and a husband. Be it that as a friend in my community and what I'm doing there, and certainly as a founder at Mountain Leverage, and the things I want to do, the things I want to tackle, the challenges I want to take on, I have to be elite. I have to be elite in those roles, which means I also physically have to be elite. I have to be in elite shape. No, I'm not interested in running marathons and anything like that's not, or going into strongman contests. It's not that. But I need to be in elite shape. I know my mind works better. I feel better. I can handle myself better. All those things are better when I am in shape. And I'm in shape now. It's just not the shape I want. And so I'm going to work on that this year. I'm committing to it. I'm not ready. I'm putting things together. Sometimes it's just the next step. I'm already taking small steps. But I'm just making this open commitment. This part of this podcast is about being authentic and real. And I don't know what you're tackling. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear your challenges, your thoughts, anything you'd like my perspective on, because this whole New Year thing's interesting. For years I have basically just said, look, I'm not interested in the New Year resolution thing. I'm not going to do it. And there was no different this year. It just so happens that what I was trying to accomplish in my November 1 New Year took me 60 stinking days or more to kind of get to where I'm ready to take action. So here I am on a New Year's resolution that's unexpected to take over my learnings from last year and apply them into this year. And, I guess I share this all with you guys as, what, the world might expect a blockbuster first opening podcast of 2025 that's full of insightful quotes and awesome motivation and this just amazing insights of the world. And I bring you a broken person who needs to fix some stuff, and that's just where I'm at. And 2024 was a good year. It was a hard year, but it was a good year. And I'm looking for 25 to be a great year, and a great year that has some flow, has some flourishment to it, some might say. And so I hope that for you, and whatever it is you need to do there, I hope you're able to do it. For me, it is certainly adding some things, but in many, many cases like that 500, it's about taking some things away and making some room for the things I know do help me flourish and ultimately help me be the best in whatever role I am to those around me. So with that said, bloviated long enough. Hopefully you all had great holidays and you're starting this year off right. And I hope wherever you may be, you are flourishing. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know sometimes I can meander a bit. So just in summary, what we're looking at here is I am choosing to use a removal strategy this year for resolutions where I'm going to remove some things. So you're looking at those 500 hours and I'm going to replace those with some. When you remove something, it creates a space. And for me, I found I need to replace that with something else, or else who knows what creeps in there. So in those 500 hours, I'm going to replace that with reading, with my map, meditation, affirmation, and prayer, and with workouts, and try to, those are things that I think would do my body good, do my life well, and would help me flourish. Lastly, in terms of being everywhere, I can't be everywhere. And so the notion of letting others lead, that's removing myself from the equation and enabling others to be in there and provide their value and their greatness and allow them to flourish for the betterment of all of us. And lastly, just about, from a deliberate point, in terms of abundance, I'm certainly thinking that way, but I can't be on all calls. I can't be on always at all times in work. And so a deliberate calendaring model where, I've set it up so that I have a week that I've got some focus. And so if something comes up and I can push it to the next week where I've got that more focus. So let's say a people issue comes up at the end of a certain week, and I can push that meeting to the following week. And if I can do that within reason, I will. And so that's my people week. And then I've got a strategy week, execution week, a project week, a deliberate week. Those things are all in place to help me try to create space within the weeks that I have, so I can be more deliberate with my work. So that's really a summary. Obviously there's all kinds of noise in between and embarrassing things. And again, as I said in the beginning, I hope this is comforting to you. If you're struggling with some of these things, you're not the only one. We're all out there trying to get it done. And I'm just trying to be honest about it. I'm not happy about it. I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. I'm not going to take any shame. Life is difficult. We're in a world where we're faced with a lot of challenges from the powers that be, social media, whatever, just life and our own cravings and all of that. It's a world to navigate. So anyway, we could do that, and we could take those struggles. And even though I'm struggling, you can struggle within your flourishment. That's part of it. It's impossible to flourish without struggle, without challenge, without the whole idea of overcoming some massive opportunity or challenge for you in your life. So anyway, at least that's my take. You might see it differently, but I hope these podcasts and what we're doing in social media and whatnot are valuable to you. And I'd love to hear from you. Maybe challenges you've seen, you've overcome. Maybe you haven't. Maybe ideas, tricks, things you'd like to hear me engage, ideas, whatever. Man, I've enjoyed the year last year, and I'm looking forward to 2025. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and if you have and you found value in it, I hope you share it with someone or someone who you think might benefit from this. So in the meantime, I hope you're flourishing. We'll talk next time.